Hey guys, what's going on? So this is more of a rant video. I like just me talking, but not an audio form. Like this is more of like a promise to myself, and like a thing for the future of this channel. I think so. When Supergirl came out, there was a big part of me that wanted to like do my same format of like short review and then long review and then like talk about it at length. And there was a big part of me that felt that I had already heard a lot of the narrative that was going around. And so then it felt like I was trying to make a video going against the narrative, but also understanding what the narrative was around the movie. There was a part of me that wanted my girlfriend to tell her take about Supergirl and why she liked it and why there's a aspect of the film that a lot of people aren't talking about, that no reviewer that I've ever come across has ever talked about. The fact that Krem traffics women is a major part of the movie. But then beyond that, like I felt that everything that I was going to say about the movie, everybody had already said about the movie. And whether or not I felt strongly or not strongly about those things, I went into the movie knowing about the needle drop that everybody was hating. I walked into the movie knowing that there was a needle drop that everybody hated, and once I got to that one, I was like, it was probably this one. This feels like a very obvious, like it's probably this one. And this brings me to what I'm going to change about my reviewing. And you're never going to notice it. You're not going to notice it. Hopefully, you're not going to notice it. And it's that there was a time before movie reviewers where you went to go see a movie in theaters without anybody's knowledge, without any preconceived notions going into a movie. And then you came out of that movie, and for years of your life, maybe, if you're as old as I am, I'm 40, for years of your life, you went through life just with that knowledge of how good of a movie that was. Now, for instance, I remember very specifically walking out of Batman and Robin and my stepdad asking me, how did you like the movie? And I said that Batman wasn't really like the same as, what's his name? Val Kilmer. I really like Val Kilmer Batman. So George Clooney was kind of strange, but I loved everything else in that movie. I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger and all of his funny one-liners. I loved the action. I loved Poison Ivy because I thought she was hot. I love Batgirl because Lisa Silverstone, because she's hot, right? And I loved that movie. And it wasn't until, recently, I want to say within the last 5 or 6 years, that I started to dive into the movie sphere and online punditry and Rotten Tomatoes, that I found out that a lot of people hate Batman and Robin, including George Clooney. And that it was like the movie that he still apologizes for, and that the Rotten Tomatoes score was terribly low, and it was the movie that killed the superhero genre, and it wasn't until X-Men that it revived, right? But as a kid, when I saw that and I came out of it, my review for that movie would have been this movie is amazing. And I feel like with so much online punditry, and there's so many people that are telling you their review of a movie, and a Rotten Tomatoes score that feels like a actual grade percentage on a subjective thing like a movie. I feel like it very much colors your review of a movie if you first listen to all of that, look what the Rotten Tomatoes score is, then you go see the movie with all of that in your mind, right? I went into Supergirl knowing that there was a terrible needle drop. That wasn't because I thought it was terrible, but I was like, what is this terrible needle drop that everybody is talking about? And I feel like I go into a lot of movies, because I'm in this space, like watching, like reviewer after reviewer after reviewer and looking up a Rotten Tomato score and looking up what the box office numbers are. And I feel like I go into movies now with all of these preconceived notions that when I walk out of the movie, I'm trying to justify all of the things that I've seen so that I can make my own review repeating back everything that I've already heard of. And that was the reason why I didn't really want to talk about Supergirl any more than I already did. And so from now on, I think I'm going to go into movies that I know I'm probably going to like, because I never really watch movies because, I'm sorry, there are very few movies that I have watched specifically because a reviewer reviewed it and said it was good and I didn't want to go before that moment. And because a reviewer said this movie is great, now I want to go see it. There are very few movies like that. I usually know what kind of movies I will probably be interested in. So moving forward, I think I'm going to watch movies how I used to, without like the preconceived notions of what a reviewer thinks. And you'll get my actually unfiltered response of how I felt about the movie. And I'll have probably more to say, as opposed to feeling like I'm just repeating everybody else's points back at you. And I think that that's going to help me wanting to talk about a movie, because I will have not have heard about the movie. And as soon as I come out, all of those thoughts that I will have about the movie will be fresh, and they will be mine, and they will be, and maybe even if they are somebody else's as well, maybe I picked up on the same thing that somebody else did as well. That will be an interesting, like dichotomy. Like maybe I focused on this other thing, and then I'll watch reviewers and they focused really hard on this other thing that I didn't even focus on. And maybe that made them dislike a movie, and this made me like a movie, or this made me dislike a movie and that made them like the movie. But you'll know exactly how I feel about a movie, as opposed to me just repeating things that I've heard other people say. And I feel like that's a better version of reviewing a movie. I don't know if like other YouTube reviewers do this. I don't know if they specifically don't watch anybody else's reviews, or specifically don't look at a Rotten Tomato score to see how critics feel about a movie, or read Rotten Tomato reviews or IMDb reviews, or test screening reviews. But I'm going to try. I know that it's not going to work for every movie, maybe. But like, there's obvious movies that I want to watch. Doomsday, Dune, Odyssey. And I think I'm going to go into all of these movies moving forward without watching reviews and just forming my own opinion. And it just is what it is. So maybe I will come out of a movie and I will say that was the best movie ever. And then I, listen to all these online reviews and they're like, that was the worst movie ever. Or maybe I'm just like, that was the worst movie ever. And then everybody else is like, that was the greatest movie of all time. Like that can happen. Or maybe it'll be the same. But I'll know that the way that I felt about the movie is the way that I felt about the movie. Not somebody telling me, Batman and Robin is bad because of the acting, and it's corny, and it's cheesy, and, Arnold Schwarzenegger is just playing a hammy version of Mr. Freeze, and the real version, the comic accurate version of Mr. Freeze is actually a very tragic character, and he's doing one-liners, and Poison, and Bane, that's not even Bane from the comics, because Bane from the comics is really smart, and he's a tactical thinker, he's not just a wrestling man, and Batgirl doing doing motorcycle jumps with Coolio as the, like the barker. That's just a dumb portrayal of Batgirl, and this movie is terrible. I'll just come out of that movie and be like, I thought it was fun. I thought that this movie is great and I loved it.